Hare Krishna. Is it working? No. I'm not sure how it works. I thought this is the way how it works, but...
It's not the button in the back, right?
You can try, but it didn't work for the last few days. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Shri Radha Govinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. All gloriously assembled devotees. Thank you so much for coming. You can come closer. I'm vegetarian. You can come closer. Hare Krishna. So today is a very wonderful day, Gita Jayanti. One of these days, which is better than a birthday or New Year or any kind of celebration. We're reading today from Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Okay, 26. Second canto, chapter number 6, and text number 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Divim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayashva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishteki. I'm just going to read translation of these two nice verses. Before reciting this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So we're going to read from Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I'm going to read Sanskrit, then you can just repeat. Namadhyayani mantrascha. Namadhyayani mantrascha. Dakshinascha vratani cha. Dakshinascha vratani cha. Divatanu kalpa. Divatanu kalpa. Sankalpastantram evacha. Sankalpastantram evacha. Namadhyayani mantrascha. Dakshinascha vratani cha. Divatanu kalpa. Sankalpastantram evacha. Please chant. Word for word translation, meaning Namadhyayani, invoking the names of demigods. Mantraha, specific hymns to offer to a particular demigod. Cha, also. Dakshinaha, reward. Cha, and. Vratani, vows. Cha, and. Devatanukramaha, one demigod after another. Kalpaha, the specific scripture. Sankalpaha, the specific purpose. Tantram, a particular process. Eva, as they are. Cha, also. Purport, translated and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Other necessities include invoking the different names of the demigods by specific hymns and vows of recompense in accordance with the particular scripture for specific purposes and by specific processes. I'll say, you can repeat after me. Other necessities include invoking the different names of the demigods by specific hymns and vows of recompense in accordance with the particular scripture for specific purposes and by specific processes. Purport. The whole process of offering sacrifice is under the category of fruitive action, and such activities are extremely scientific. They mainly depend on the process of vibrating sounds with a particular accent. It is a great science, and due to being out of proper use for more than 4,000 years, for want of qualified brahmanas, such performances of sacrifice are no longer effective, nor are they recommended in this fallen age. Any such sacrifice undertaken in this age as a matter of show may simply be a cheating process by the clever priestly order. But such a show of sacrifice cannot be effective at any stage. Fruitive action is being carried on by the help of material science and to a little extent by gross material help. But the materialists await a still more subtle advancement in that process of vibrating sounds on which the Vedic hymns are established. Gross material science cannot divert the real purpose of human life. They can only increase the artificial needs of life without any solution to the problems of life. Therefore, the way of materialistic life leads to the wrong type of human civilization. Since the ultimate aim of life is spiritual realization, the direct way of invoking the holy name of the Lord, as mentioned above, is precisely recommended by Lord Chaitanya, and people of the modern age can easily take advantage of this simple process, which is attainable for the condition of the complicated social structure. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priyam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Goprimanande Hari Hari Om. Thank you so much everyone for coming. First of all, I would like to ask for all of your blessings, because we're not able to speak without blessings of devotees. It's only by the blessings of devotees we can perform our devotional service, and this service I see as a very hard, but for my all self-purification. So it's good to go out of your comfort zone. So please. Thank you. Let me see. Other necessities include invoking the different names of the demigods by specific hymns and vows of recompense in accordance with the particular scripture for specific purpose and specific processes. So again, we hear about worship of demigods. We've been hearing a lot, and it's in purport says that worship of demigods, it's a very scientific process. So by performing different yagyas, people could achieve all the desired results, what they wanted, at least before, in different ages. And one very important thing to remember, that these mantras are very powerful. We know that even in Mahabharata, when they were fighting, right? So they didn't have real arrows, they didn't have real, well, they had real, but they would invoke with the mantras specific fire weapons or water weapons or different kind of weapons which we have no idea about right now. And by pronouncing mantras very clearly and in particular way, they could do this. And the whole purpose of fire sacrifices of yagyas is that, at least it was in the present ages, we heard about that before from previous classes, what devotees would give, that usually there was a sacrifice of animals, and why they would do it? This was for the benefit of the animals. Usually it was very old animal, and just to test the Vedic mantras and the purity of the Vedic mantras and the purity of the Brahmanas, they would do it. And the result was, of course, that the animal, it would get a new body, like a young body, or even human body, which is very good for spiritual progress. And we see nowadays, it's even if people do some kind of sacrifices in the name of kind of liberating animals, so it's not really true, because we cannot even pronounce any mantras right now. There was a very interesting story I read in 6th canto about yes, I found one. I just have it already saved. And when they performed sacrifice, it was before the battle of demons and demigods, and there was one personality, Tvashta. He was a Brahmana, and he was a priest, right? And he was performing sacrifices, and he was supposed to help one party to, to create some being against Indra, right? Because they were very powerful demigods, and the demons wanted to get victory somehow or other. And then the Tvashta was performing sacrifice, and he was chanting the Vedic mantras, but because he was chanting wrongly, something different came out of the yagya. It's quite interesting. I'm not sure which age was it, Prabhu, do you know? Like which yuga was it when the battle of demigods and demons took place? Probably they fight all the time, but this was particular thing. Satya Yuga. So in Satya Yuga, imagine, and I'll read the purport, right? I actually read the whole verse. It's 6, 9, 11. After Vishvarupa was killed, his father Tvashta performed ritualistic ceremonies to kill Indra. He offered oblations in the sacrificial fire, saying, "O enemy of Indra, flourish to kill your enemy without delay." And the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that there was some defect in Tvashta's chanting of the mantra, because he chanted it long instead of short, and therefore the meaning changed. Tvashta intended to chant the word Indra Shastro, meaning "O enemy of Indra." In this mantra, the word Indra is in the possessive case, Shashti, and the word Indra Shastro is called Tatpurusha compound. Unfortunately, instead of chanting the mantra short, Tvashta chanted it long, and its meaning changed from the enemy of Indra to Indra, who is an enemy. Consequently, instead of an enemy of Indra's, there emerged the body of Vritrasura, of whom Indra was the enemy. So you see, it's just completely different result. Which is very interesting. What to speak about us right now, nowadays. So it's whoever tries to do it, it's just cheating process. We're not able to do it. As we heard, the best yagya, Sankirtan yagya. And also Srila Prabhupada says that this process of worshiping demigods is very scientific. And why it's scientific? Because it's like, you sign the paper, kind of like that, right? You go into the job, you sign the paper that they will pay you $2,000 a month, and then they just pay you. Sometimes you get some benefits, right? But it doesn't really change. And it's limited. But with the worship of Krishna, we know that it's, he he doesn't have to do something what we're asking for, because he's not our order supplier. What we sometimes think, right? And let me see. It also says that the demigods worship, it's on the level of still karma, fruitive activities, right? Category fruitive activities. And usually people with a small intelligence worship demigods, and they just want to achieve different things, usually materialistic things, right? Then even in, we can see different, like a, I don't want to say levels, but the places where people are. Some people, you see, they're like completely on level of karma. They just, you know, they're just going to work, they're satisfied or they're not satisfied, right? And they just want to eat, you know, just want to come home and eat and watch TV. Right? And it's just on the level of karma. They don't even think about some kind of knowledge, some kind of advancement. They just really working hard, and they just live in this way. At some point, people, they're very attached to the fruitive actions, to the fruitive results, because this is what they work for. If you ask any, you know, person on the street, especially a person like a middle class, right? You know, we're asking for donations, right? And sometimes people say, well, I don't have money. Of course they do. But they start telling all the time, you know, oh, you know, I have to support my family, I have to send my money to my country, or I have to buy this and this and that, right? So it's, they don't think where is it coming from. They don't think that there is something above that, beyond just these karmic activities. Sometimes when a person gets tired with that, they can come to the point of jnana, where they inquired, you know, about, they just want to, you know, sometimes we have all this feeling when you do something, you do for a long time, and then you just want to escape from that, even though you might like it, right? Even we live in a temple, right? Sometimes you just want to escape, to go to the forest, to go to the mountains, to go to the sea, right? You know, it's a natural tendency for us. And when it's going on this karmic level, one person realizes that, well, I just don't want to do it. At least he is open to receive any kind of knowledge, what is beyond whatever he or she does, like that. And this is kind of jnana, when detachment comes, when person doesn't want to do things what he used to do. And even from enjoyment, we try to escape. Sometimes there can be too much enjoyment. And the difficult notes I put here. Can't relate right now. I was preparing like a week ago because I was very busy with with Live to Give campaign. That's why. Anyway. So, and of course we know that the bhakti is completely different from any kind of karma, any kind of jnana. And what is the difference, particular difference, is that when we try to do karmic activities, or even a level of jnana, we're still doing it for ourselves, for our own enjoyment. When person comes to the level of any kind of knowledge, it's still, you know, I want to be happy, I want to enjoy in a different way, not just from eating and sleeping, but from knowledge. I want to become, you know, like the best of scholars or something like that. So, but it's still self-consciousness. And bhakti, we see that it's different. It's Krishna consciousness. When a person becomes aware of someone who is higher than him, and he's just trying to please his senses, Krishna senses, not his own. And this is very big change in consciousness. It's actually a huge switch. When you start thinking about yourself and you start thinking about how to please Krishna in form even of his devotees. Krishna says that whoever worships me, he's not my devotee. Whoever worships my devotee, I consider to be my devotees. You know, so it's very and of course we know that we don't really escape things, we engage. It's not negative process, it's positive process. Well, if you don't like what you do something, right, we don't have to just reject it and don't do, but we can just get engaged in something else. And this another action will take you out of this action what you used to do. It's a positive experience. It's not, we don't neglect things. Yukta vairagya, right? Something what we take any material, so-called material things, and we engage in Krishna service. In fact, there is nothing material. There is nothing material because material, we know that material energy is also Krishna's energy, right? Daivihi ashagunamayi mama maya duratya mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. That this divine energy, so this is also divine energy, the material energy, but why we see it as material? Because we forget about Krishna. In this way it becomes material, but actually it's spiritual. Krishna is everywhere. Okay, let's see. Now the reason, right, why people worship demigods is that, material desires, but we want some kind of happiness, wealth, right, money, like that. I actually have few interesting stories of how, like, different people's consciousness is different. When I was in New Vrindavan, I had a great opportunity to visit Malati Prabhu, and she was telling us different stories. And she has her own deities, and one of her deities, it's a Govardhan Shila, very, very small, tiny like this. And we started talking about this Govardhan Shilas, and she was telling us how the devotee is supposed to get it. Not supposed to get, but you cannot just take him from Govardhan. Vrajavasi is supposed to give it to you. And she was telling one story how she got her Govardhan Shila. Somebody gave it to her, but this devotee, he was in India and he was just walking on parikrama and he didn't have any money. And then, there are different people who are asking for donations, right, on the way. I guess that's how it works like that. You know better than me, all of you. And he was walking there, and then this sadhu came up to him and he said, give anything, right? But devotee said, I don't have anything. Like, I just broke. I don't have anything. And then this sadhu, he took this Govardhan Shila and he gave it to him. And he said, now you're wealthy. So it's just amazing consciousness how people think that Krishna is the most important thing in their life. And, we put so much attention to this money, right? Relationships. We want this and these things, but actual wealth is Krishna. If you have Krishna, everything will come, everything will be really good, like that. And do you have any thoughts, realizations on that? No? Well, then, we're just supposed to stop a little bit earlier today because we have to prepare for the reading. We try to do it through Zoom and all these different technologies things. And I just wanted to speak a little bit on Glorification of Bhagavad-Gita because it is a very special day, one of the year, like I said before, better than birthday, better than any kind of celebration. And I was just thinking why Bhagavad-Gita is so important for us. Nowadays, I see on the internet so much for different campaigns. Devotees do different videos, right? Why Bhagavad-Gita is so important, what they like about Bhagavad-Gita, what's their favorite verse. And I was just thinking to ask you.
Why is Bhagavad-Gita so important?
Yeah, for you, you know, because we know all these different. Okay, once I remember I listened to lecture of His Grace Navina Nirada Swami about book distribution, and he said, you have to give me 100 reasons why you want to distribute books. And then he said, and you don't have to tell me all this, you know, to purify my heart, or I read it in scriptures, not like that. You have to give me your own realizations. And then he said, okay, give me at least 20, and then at least 10, at least one, but your real one. So, and I started thinking of Bhagavad-Gita in this way, because we hear so many things, yes, you know, it helps this devotee, but it's very nice to realize how it helped you, particularly you, because appreciation will be much bigger. We can use another mic, yes, that's it. You have time to prepare.
Hare Krishna. I got the Bhagavad-Gita music festival, and I didn't even know what it was, but I liked the far out artwork at the cover. It was one of the original, 1978 versions. And 1972. But it had the original far out artwork. I didn't even read it for like a few years after that, but just keeping it next to me, it said it has potency that even if you just touch it, what's near you will help purify you. I personally experienced that, and the next time I actually went into bodies, I remember I had it and I started reading it. I couldn't understand anything at all, but even just having a little bit of contact with it and help purify me, I'm fortunate to be able to have the association with bodies, serve the deities, chant all the names because of that. Just like having it near me. So with the speaker, actually trying to understand it, which I don't understand, but I'm still trying to learn a little bit.
Nice. That's nice. I also, it's like when I first read Bhagavad Gita, I read it in His Holiness Radhanath Maharaja's book, and I downloaded it on my phone, but it was just, like a translation, and I read it maybe in an hour, whole Bhagavad Gita, and I'm like, okay, nice story, didn't get anything. And even now going through Bhakti Shastri, it's like really amazing, and right now I'm on this 7th chapter where Krishna starts telling about, I am the sun, right? I'm the moon, I'm the strength of the strong, and I'm ability in man. It's just so amazing. It's just so amazing. And I got even, something what you have to do during vacation. So it's like 15 different items where Krishna present in chapter 7. And we have to find every day, at least one item in something. For example, if you drink water, right, you think about Krishna, or you see someone is doing some service very nicely, and like, oh wow, ability in man, very nice meditation. And it really helps to go deeper into Bhagavad Gita. So I guess right now, 7th chapter is my favorite for now. Yes.
But then I've noticed that
What was the shloka?
Uh,
What was the shloka?
what is the shloka?
What was it?
Oh,
What do you mean?
the one that a lot of times sticks to my head is Divyangi-devī, 262, by meditating, contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment, and from attachment lust develops. So whenever some sort of temptation or material desire comes up, I remember that verse. Oh yeah, don't even contemplate it, otherwise attachment will grow, and then the desire to enjoy that object will manifest. So, and then Krishna says to basically nip it at the root, don't even contemplate at all. So that's a verse that comes to my mind a lot, but different verses and different circumstances come.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, memorizing shlokas is also very interesting. I used to just, memorize them, usually when I'm in stress. I memorize shlokas, which is not so bad, but, and at some point, I remember a few years ago, I memorized half of 9th chapter. That's how much stress I had. You can remember them, but the way now I'm learning in the Bhakti Shastri, the way we learn shlokas, it's very interesting because we, why we have word-for-word translation, because each word in Sanskrit has a meaning, and when we learn a meaning of each verse, of each word in the verse, you can really, it's like you think about that, what you learn. It's not only memorization, it's like really training your brain and mind. You can recognize different words, you know what it means. It's pretty amazing. It's kind of like learning a new language. Well, right? We can experience that. It's nice. So, and it's different experience. These shlokas, they become more, you can relate to them in your own way. Because one word particular will stand, to you, like for no one else. So I find it very nice, yes. And it's nice to memorize shlokas. Okay, and do you have any realizations? How do you feel when you read Bhagavad-Gita?
I feel all right.
You have to turn it on.
Well, I can definitely relate to your realization because we are both second language speakers when it comes to English, and Sanskrit is a very similar experience because it is
Soundtrack.
learning a new language. And as with every new language, you in the beginning will know some words and not know the rest. But sometimes you can just feel, understand, gasp the meaning of them. And that's how it becomes closer to you. That's how you can learn it more and more. That is a beautiful experience which you described. And for me personally, how I feel reading the Gita, I feel good. Most of the times I feel like, why do I not do it more often? Because I'll be honest, I don't read Gita on the daily. But every time I do, I'm like, why do I not do it more often? And you're asking why Gita is important to us personally. Well, I can share that for me, it came to me when I was 14, maybe, young, troubled teenager with a lot of things going on in my mind. And on the other hand, the side of my life was that I was curious, I was interested what's going on with life, what's beyond death, what is that. My parents were always philosophically inclined, so I had different ideas for what the world is like. But then I got Gita as a kid on Gita Jayanti. And I found so many answers to so many questions, so many things I didn't really understand and
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. It's really amazing to hear how devotees come to devotional service through book. It's always so inspiring. And of course, we don't know how these books will manifest. Even, sometimes we get Gita and we don't understand. But it's very, very important to give these books away. And like you said, right, you got it as a gift. So use God as a gift. It's really amazing, how powerful it is.
And also the person who gave it to me, they said, whenever you're in trouble, they said, you don't need to read it, but whenever you're in trouble or like you're stressed out, you can't find an answer to your question, like you just need, helping hand, open this book on any page, choose any paragraph of any line, and you'll find the answer, and this book will speak to you.
Who told you that?
A person who gave it.
I use this line a lot.
Yeah, and so that actually works. The book did speak to me, and
Yes.
it did find my answers.
Yes.
So it's an interesting way to, introduce it to someone, but yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, the best way to read Bhagavad-Gita is when, in the mood that Krishna speaks directly to you. And if you read in this mood, you will have a completely different experience. Sometimes there is one secret organization, what we do, where we're in, it's called chapter a day. Do you know about that?
Chat.
Do you do chat?
I try to. I've been failing lately, but
Yes.
I'm doing chapter 9 for like more than a year.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Isn't it amazing how we can read? Basically, the idea is that you read one chapter for 1 month, the same chapter every single day, only Sanskrit or only English. And at least in my case, it's just amazing to see how I can read one chapter and then I cannot remember anything. How it's just how consciousness is not clear, right? Every single day, the same words. Not all the time we said like this, right? But sometimes you really have deep realizations on the same verse you read, because you also in different consciousness every single day, and it really speaks to you. This is amazing. Yes. So give Bhagavad-Gita as a gift to anybody who you care about or who you don't care about. Even better, maybe this person will become your best friend. You never know, right? And sponsor Bhagavad-Gitas. This is another way to participate or to help devotees who are going out to distribute Bhagavad-Gitas. And Happy Gita Jayanti. Now we're going to read one more comment.
I had some questions about the class.
Okay, maybe a few minutes.
Yeah, it's okay. I can ask. Okay. First of all, how many years ago was Bhagavad Gita spoken? Everyone says 5,000, but do you know the exact amount of years? 5,000 and how many?
No, I'm one of these. 5,000.
Okay.
5,000 years.
And I was also wondering that, I don't know where I came up with this question. I forgot what you were talking about, but talking about something about karma or something. But I was also wondering, can good karma also, if someone has like good karma and ability to speak nicely or whatever, or they're talented, could that person, because of their karma, perform better devotional service? Like, for example, say someone's very outgoing and they're sincere, but then there's another person who's very sincere also, but they're not very outgoing, they don't really have people skills. So the person with the good karma have people skills distributes 100 books a day. Whereas the other person who's trying just as hard and is just as sincere, but he doesn't have good people skills, only does 10 books a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost seems like someone's karma, I know devotional service is not dependent on karma, but it's almost like you can use your karma in Krishna consciousness to do better service. Is that a correct understanding?
Yeah. Well, you know that like numbers, right? We use numbers. It's good to see your progress, for example, right? Like numbers are very important. Whatever gets measured gets improved. And of course, you know, if this year we did 100 books, right? Next year it would be nice to do 200 books, right? And in this way you can measure, right? Your improvement is very important. But in case of devotional service, there is one story, one of my favorite stories from Ramayana, when they were building, all the monkeys were building a bridge across the ocean to Lanka. And there were very many powerful monkeys, right? They would take these huge rocks and they would put it in the water, right? And there was a small little squirrel. And he was trying to help, obviously, because everyone is devotee, wants to serve the Lord. And he was taking this very, very small, tiny, how much a squirrel can take, right? You know, very small, tiny rocks. And he would put on the water, also the same as Hanuman did. And then Hanuman approached him and he said, you know, like, you know, it's like, what, are you even helping? Like, are you even helping if it's only, you know, one small, tiny piece? And then Lord Ram said something, what was, you know, he said that for him, it was the same. It's not about quantity. He takes it as a devotional service. He takes it as a sincere effort. You know, sometimes we're going out, like yesterday I went out to this, you know, raining Jackson Heights and outside, and nobody's taking books, you know, no one is taking books, and you become a little bit more angry, right? But Krishna appreciates the effort. Sometimes we distribute only, you know, one book, right, during the whole thing. Also I heard from Charanti, she was telling me all the stories from festivals, musical festivals. Few books, you know, and not like even 100, but you feel very satisfied, because at least if you can meet one person who is very sincere, who is looking for devotional service, who is looking for Bhagavad-Gita, this changes everything, you know. Only because of these kind of people we're going out there. And when you meet one person a day, like that, out of 100 people who said no, you know, it's really worth it. Because ultimately it's not about numbers. It's about your own effort and sincerity. And, you know, it's good to use numbers just to improve yourself, but don't, you know, kind of limit yourself with the numbers. I used to do it a lot, you know, being with Harinam devotees, they would do millions of books every day, and I would do 10 books a day. 10 books is a lot. That time for me it was a lot. But because of, you know, comparison, we don't have to compare ourselves to anybody. Because, you know, Krishna gave us unique abilities, unique qualities. Srila Prabhupada would say that he always wanted to distribute his books, and he would say that everyone has his or her own genius in the heart, and the way different devotees distribute books and do different service can be completely different, but it doesn't mean that Krishna takes it differently. You know, it's all about the effort. And usually we know when we do what we, you know, we know that, okay, you know, I could have done more. Maybe because, you know, I was a little bit lazy today, like that. But sometimes you feel like, well, I just offered everything what I could, you know, and you feel very satisfied. It's a personal relationships, you know, with Krishna. And again, you know, even like there is a very nice thing: stay alive in Krishna consciousness. I have many friends like that. Well, they are my seniors, they're not really my friends. They're more like my mentors and inspiration. But they just keep distributing books for many years, you know, like 40 years, 30 years, 50 years. And it's not like, well, they have families, they have all different things to deal with every single day. But they go out and distribute at least one book a day, which is a lot. One book a day. It's not thousands of books, right? But they have this feeling, this sincere feeling they want to serve. And if you do even, you know, you go to the store, laundry, and you just give out a book, they feel very satisfied. And they post on Facebook and like, yeah, I'm so happy. And I feel happy, you know, very, very nice. So it's about really our sincere effort.
Can I add something?
In 3 seconds. Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to what you say, and to the question. We can think sometimes that someone is doing more than us, better than us, but we don't know their ability, and sometimes we don't know our ability either. And there is this nice way of thinking about things that Krishna does not look at how much you give, but how much you keep for yourself. That's another way to look at things. Maybe you did a little, but you did all you could, just as you said, and someone, maybe another person has done 10,000 times more, but maybe they could have done 50, 100,000 times more or whatever. It's not about that. And another thing that I wanted to mention is that someone might have been born with a talent or impressive ability, and we might think that we were not. But in devotional service, we can learn anything because Krishna is the ability in man. I can share from myself, like I've learned so many things in devotional service just for the purpose of performing it, and maybe in a different way I would have never learned it or would have never be able to do that. But for his service, Krishna provides. He cares what you lack and gives you what you need. So there is no point in being discouraged in any way at any time.
Yes, and I was, this last point, I was watching yesterday one of the Live to Give campaigns, and someone was glorifying His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, that he has a completely different vision on book distribution, and the main point was of this devotee. He said that before we kind of had this idea, like in the movement, that okay, you're kind of talented, you can distribute books. It's just not my thing. But what he brought, he just gave a system how to do it, and anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, just following this, like techniques, so-called. But it's like really, really amazing thing. Yes. So okay. Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Gita Jayanti ki jai. Okay, now we're gonna start with Bhagavad-Gita in a few minutes. Everyone is welcome to join. Hare Krishna. You can turn off.
I had a question about that. You said
Turn off. Please turn. Выключи, пожалуйста.
different devotees are going to be reading different chapters.
So yes,
Told what chapter is supposed to
Vilas
be.
will help us to install